Hey guys, once again, I am back throwing out the Oscarith thing out there, but you guys know what this is. This is the Portal Room. And we've had so much controversy over this one movie. And Quentin said he's going to be here in about 3 minutes. So we'll have another guy joining us. So I thought we would all get together and see this movie and talk about this movie because, yes, DC has another movie that's out there. And of course, we bleed DC here on this channel. We're not, we're Marvel friendly, but we are DC. And I will start off by saying this movie was not made for me. I understand that. I'm willing to concede to the point that this is a summer blockbuster. Bring your kids to the movies and watch and enjoy. So when I say that it is not for me, that is not a green light for me to come out here. Oh, this movie was horrible. Oh, this movie did this. Oh, this movie did that. Were there inconsistencies? Yes. It's too many for me to mention because, my brain just works that way. When I hear something or see something, I just start picking it apart, sort of like Marky Mark did about the dinosaurs being big. Yeah. You came from my Jurassic Park. I'm not bringing the kryptonite, but you came from my Jurassic Park.
So it sucks. That's all I gotta say.
I agree with you. That's why I'm not really downing this movie because it didn't suck, but it's definitely not my cup of tea. It is definitely a kids movie. To me, it would have did better being an animated movie than it did a movie. I did not go for the Marvel humor that was at every freaking turn. Jeez, I sat there, and then when they brought when they brought Stitch out in the middle of the movie, I was done. He needs to stop. He needs a different property. He does not need Superman. Give him Booster Gold. Give him Ted Cord, Blue Beetle, but Superman, no. And I am definitely afraid for Batman Brave and the Bold. If that's what DC is going to be like, maybe it's time for me to will swallow crow and watch Marvel movies sign. Just saying. So I am going to Marky Mark. You're my right hand man. I have to save you to save this movie. I don't know where Vonda is in this, but there is a singular voice of reason, and that is with the Admiral. But I am going to go to, the mouth of the South. Big L. All right, sir. Give us your 2 cents on this.
Well, it is the loud mouth of the South, Big L from Geek Fandoms NC LLC. Damn, it feels good to say that. Anyways, my take on Superman. Honestly, I liked it. I really did. I thought it was it was kind of a conglomeration of a lot of Superman lore. Were there inconsistencies? Absolutely. 100% there were inconsistencies on certain things. I'll admit that 100%. But overall, for a story that I was looking for, kind of that campy Superman that we got back in the 80s with Christopher Reeve. It really was kind of that campy style. I liked Lex Luthor in this. I thought it was, the character was very well put together. Reminded me a lot of Michael Rosenbaum from Smallville. Did I really like the guy playing Superman? Yeah. He was okay. But overall, the story for me was very well put together. There was a lot of nuances from different comic books and shows and kind of all put together. Did James Gunn throw the Marvel, kind of light into it? Absolutely. He threw the Marvel, plug in there. He put his brother as a cameo in there. He did the the after credit scenes, all that kind of stuff. So it did feel very Marvel-esque. But for me, as someone who's not a Superman fan, who has rocked Batman consistently, I would say that, this was a decent, DC Superman movie for what it was. That's where I'll leave it.
Very nice. Very nice. Now, let's go to the counterpart of Big L, Mr. Jedi Joe. I take it you've seen the movie, sir?
Yes, sir. I sure have.
And you are a big Christopher Reeve fan. Am I correct?
Absolutely. Right. Well, I mean, like I said, I grew up on Christopher Reeve. Guys, I'm Jedi Joe. I am the president and co-founder of 757 Geek Fandoms. I also run 757 Ronin, a local saber competition class. But guys, these people that you see before you actually got me into the DC universe. So before I give my opinion on Superman, I want to say that I'm probably the most least qualified, I guess you could say, to give a review, but I try to give the utmost respect and give my opinion. The great thing about giving your opinion about something that you really don't know much about is that you learn from that particular person or persons, and you learn more about the fandom, because yes, I'm more of a Marvel fan versus a DC fan, but you guys that are here in front of me and with whoever everybody's seeing has actually got me into different characters and that sort of thing. The beginning of Superman was probably the start of my downfall of the movie, because it reminded me of kind of the same disrespect that Ray did with Luke did with Ray by throwing the lightsaber like he just didn't care. It was like Superman, one of the most powerful superheroes on Earth, and you get him falling down into the snow. And guys, I grew up with Christopher Reeve, and then of course the Man of Steel, so that's my era of Star Wars. I mean, Superman, and it was just like y'all said at the beginning. It's not my Superman, but it was a superhero movie. It was fun to watch. It was entertaining. If anything, it probably should have been called Lex Luthor, because he seemed to be one of the strongest. But I actually enjoyed Mr. Terrific, Hawk Girl, and kind of was a little disappointed in the Green Lantern, because when I first saw that haircut, it made me think of Prince Valium from Spaceballs. And but talking to different people, I kind of learned a little bit more about him and everything. So all in all, I enjoyed the movie, but it's not my Superman movie. Matter of fact, I still think Black Adam is probably the best DC movie that I've seen, because I enjoyed DC. I enjoyed the Black Adam, and of course, the very ending scene. It just, and then watching it with the boys, it was just that awesome. But he wasn't very super in this movie, if you ask me. What did he do? He saved a squirrel and he saved a child. I mean, everybody else did all the work. It's, in a Wikipedia or Google thing, it said that James Gunn wanted to make Superman less powerful in this movie, and I thought that was kind of isn't that what the movie is about Superman? We're trying to get a new taste on him. So if 5 is great, 3 is okay, and 1 is terrible, I gave it like a 2.5, because again, I enjoyed certain things of the movie, and I have utmost respect for the people in here that are big Superman fans. So this is a learning review for me with you guys. And so I'm not here to trash it. I'm just here to learn more from it, just like you guys.
Okay. Yes. Well, from Christopher Reeve saving a cat out of a tree to saving a squirrel. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Former GCPD. Michael Lane, glad you could join us. My counterpart, who actually, at least you got the film. I wasn't even on film, so at least you got the film. Your thoughts on Superman?
Can you guys hear me pretty well? Okay. So I saw Superman, I want to say last week, and I went in there blind. I mean, I saw a little bit of the trailer, but I didn't see, like, I know this is the first DCU film that he did, but I know that Creature Commandos was a part of it and whatnot. And so I didn't see Creature Commando, so I went in there just with this as the start of his brand new universe. For those that do know me, I am a big Snyderverse fan. I love the Snyderverse. Of course, I will forever be heartbroken that we'll never see the true conclusion of that. So I try to go in there without any of that on my mind and just watch the movie as it was. I can say I went in there. I had me a little Superman shirt on. It was the Man of Steel one. I even bought me a very cute Crypto Super Dog popcorn holder, which I should have brought. But I went in there, watched it, and I can say that I understood what people were saying when they wanted a more hopeful Superman. I understood that with the current Superman that we had. I did believe he was giving off very hopeful. Um, even with the whole thing, him saving a squirrel. Did we need it? No, but I feel like the fact that they took the time to do it showed a good. That's what Superman is all about. Even for the stuff that we might miss, Superman will still come in and save the day, even if it's just saving a squirrel. I did like that. I thought that was nice. The story for me was the weakest part. I didn't find myself really compelled with the story. It felt very comic booky, cartoonish, which, to my knowledge, that's what they were going for. But I don't know. I guess it's just because I like the realistic or the gritty, Snyder stuff. So watching it and looking at it like how it was, I was just like, it's giving me this as a cartoon. Guy Gardner, everyone was telling me a lot how like that Nathan Fillion was perfect as Guy Gardner, and no one, because I think that Nathan Fillion would have been an amazing Hal Jordan. I will stand on that hill to this day. I know he's voiced him in the past, but I think he would have been perfect for it. And people were saying that they can't see anybody else play Guy Gardner. But every time Guy Gardner was on the screen, I kept seeing Bruce Campbell. And I don't know, something about it gave me very Ash Williams vibes. And I was like, well, dang, we could have Bruce Campbell done there. Like, I feel like it was giving me a very Bruce Campbell-y vibe, the way that he was acting to it. Hawkgirl, I thought Hawkgirl was okay, but they didn't give her a lot. Mr. Terrific, he was stealing the show. He was stealing the show. He was doing a lot, doing way more than Green Lantern and Hawkgirl was doing, and he was basically stealing the show. Like, honestly, he was very good, and I'm glad that the actor that played him had a chance to shine, because he was definitely done dirty in X-Men First Class. So I'm happy that he actually has a superhero that he can like flourish, that he can shine at. Um, Everybody else, honestly, like I was just like, they're here. I know a lot of people like, or at least like James Gunn and all the cast, they were hyping up, Perry White, Jimmy Olsen, all these people, like everyone that worked at the Daily Planet. But it felt like they were just there, and like I was at the end of it, I was just like, okay, all right, so we got Daily Planet shots, I guess. Um, Even I think somebody had pointed out that there was a character in the back who was a comic book character. He had no lines whatsoever. I wouldn't known who he was, but everyone was like, "Yeah, that's this guy." And I just found myself kind of shrugging, like, "Okay, like nothing about the Daily Planet crew kind of like drew me." I can say I laughed at one scene with I think the character Steve. That one was cracking me up. Lex Luthor is by far the biggest hater in all of comic book history. Like this version of Lex was getting me. I was just like, yo, he's hating just nonstop. And I see a lot of people say they love Lex Luthor. They love his portrayal of Lex Luthor. I was just over here like, is he that big of a hater? Like, maybe I need to do some homework, but is he that big of a hater? Like, all I kept saying was he's doing way too much. But everyone that I spoke to, they were like, no, that's faithful. Lex Luthor is that type of person. He would do this, he would do that. And I know I'm more of a media person when it comes to Superman, like and a lot of DC comics. So like of course, like my favorite Lex Luthor was Michael Rosenbaum from Smallville, which I know he said he took inspiration of, but all I kept seeing was like, man, this man is a big hater the entire movie, and like I just felt like I was looking at one big old hater, and everyone was loving it, and I was just over here like, somebody, somebody stop him! Like this, we haven't stopped Lex
Look,
Luthor yet. That's all I kept saying. I was like, what's up?
I was talking to Bishop, and Bishop, your wife said Lex Luthor had what now?
She said he had a bitch ass energy.
Boom. That was the perfect one right there. Like, yo, honestly, that's all he was. That's all he was doing the whole movie to me. And I was just like, Lord, man. Like at some point he just didn't care about what he was doing as long as and it didn't even feel like his goal was to kill Superman, but just make him look bad. And I'm like, you're doing all this for this, bro? Like, seriously? Like he just wanted him to go through the worst. And I'm like, I was just saying, wrap it up, man. You have them. You have them at moments. Are we doing spoiler or no spoiler? I don't know.
No, it's. I mean, the
Oh my god!
box
It
office.
just hit me. It just hit me.
What?
I know what this whole movie's about.
What do you got?
So you don't like the social media hate?
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's about.
Bitch ass.
Yeah.
This is bitch ass
Yeah.
millennial shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why. That's why. Oh my god.
Yeah. Because all that with the ape, with the monkey, like I was just over here like, what are we doing? He's doing whatever just to make him look bad, and I'm just like, oh, like, what are we doing at this point, guys? Like that's all I just kept saying. But the bit though, I can say overall with my experience with the movie, did I enjoy it? I found it very decent. I think I was expecting to hate it a lot more, but it felt like it's a nice movie that I would probably like. Let's say if I have something on TV and that's on, I put it on. I might not be paying attention, but it's in the back. Would I check it out again? Only if I check out Creature Commandos to rewatch this movie to see if I missed any nods or Easter eggs and stuff like that. From what I've heard, I didn't. Yeah, from what I've heard, I didn't. But I'm if this movie was just a standalone movie, I'd be like, okay, we had a Superman movie.
Creature Commandos by far blew me
Mhm.
away. I thought it was great, and I was like, okay, so there's some hope.
Right.
Because if there's a character that I hate, and I hated Weasel, and you can make me go, oh my God, that poor guy, you got me. You got something good. So that was great. Again, we got what we got.
Right.
Give me Bishop, and then I'm going to go to you, Rob, and then the Savior. We'll take it to the Savior. Bishop, give me your take.
I
Bishop.
thought it was
Bishop.
Can you?
This is not an hour show.
I no, I'm not. It's. I thought it was a Saturday morning cartoon interpretation of a live action Superman. I did not see the mythic god Superman that I wanted to see on the screen. I got this soy boy 2025 Superman. I ain't never seen Superman get his ass whipped so many times in his own movie. And
there was no Batman there.
Part of the movie. And I'm just like, I'm supposed to be shocked and awed, and I want to see Superman being super throughout the movie. And, I wanted to see taking on epic fights, epic foes. I want to see epic battles. I don't want to see, what we got. Now, I will say this. I ended up, after my brain switched and I realized what was, what I'm getting, it is something I would sit there and say that's good. Take your kids. If you got kids, family, want to go see a movie, good movie. If you want to, look at it from that perspective. But this was not the epic god of Superman that I wanted to see, especially after, we had one of the greatest Superman ever, Henry Cavill. That was a god. He was something that was, when you look at, you're like, man, I wish I could be this guy, and have all his powers, but he's good. He's helping. The other Superman he's a nice guy, and he's got powers. Okay.
Now,
that's my thought.
You have to. Okay, I get that, but there's something to be said about that 70s Superman that's going to give you the he was so compassionate about people. I love that. He didn't even want to kill the big Stitch that was running around town. And he was a little disappointed that they went and did that route. Best scene for me was Hawkgirl. I'm not Superman. That was okay. So I got my killing in, and I was good with that. But Superman is that Boy Scout. So we can't fault him for going into that mode. Now, it may have been a little bit excessive. Saving the squirrel was just kind of nuts to me. That lets you know that every life, no matter how
Except
big or
for
small.
Clone. Except for the clone.
Well, okay, yeah, but that's an evil me. That's an evil me. That's got to go.
That's Bizarro.
Yeah, that's Bizarro. Exactly. That's got to go. And I can see him coming back, coming out of the black hole all messed up looking and whatnot. But anyway, we can't fault Superman for the core ideals of Superman, even though it's told in a different way that most of us who are Snyder fans don't particularly care for, but that still is part of the character. That's Superman.
This was the live action Justice League that we watched in the 70s and 80s, just live action.
You mean Super Friends, not Justice League.
Sorry, Super Friends. Yeah, Super Friends.
Yeah. All right, Rob, hit us up. Give it to us.
All right. I went into this movie expecting it to be a waste of $8, and I was pleasantly surprised. Superman, if you in the 80s watched any of the Supermans that came on TV and stuff, there was one show called Superboy. And when he saved the squirrel, that was a callback to that show. And that made me realize that this was like the grown up version of Superboy. And then the whole movie made sense to me. And I was like, I love this movie now. I always hated Hal Jordan, not Hal Jordan, but Guy Gardner. Hal Jordan was my hero. I liked all the other Leonards, but I hated Guy with a passion. And I think he did a good job of it because he came across as the asshole that Guy was, down to the middle finger flipping up the tanks. I just loved that. And we even got the call back to Otis when they were back in the room. He called one of the henchmen, Otis, giving us a call back to Christopher Reeve's Superman, which I was like, oh, that's a nice little nod. Didn't put him into the story, but gave us a nod to him. But the best was at the end of the movie during the credits. We got the classic Christopher Reeve's Superman score that mutated halfway through into like a Flash Gordon type soundtrack with Superman, which was like the most awesome Superman soundtrack I've ever heard. And it was at the very end of the movie where most people left. So overall, I liked it once I realized that it was like a grown-up version of Superboy.
Okay. Now, let me say this. I have two people here that are part of the Cosmic Portal. They have helped push the Cosmic Portal to great heights. Without these two people, I would have been bald, angry, and throwing things at people. So I want to say happy belated anniversary to Marky Mark and Admiral Xena. Happy anniversary to you both.
Thank you. Thank you a lot.
Now, sir, it's you can give it to Vonda.
I'm gonna let Vonda go first.
All right, Admiral, lay it on me.
Okay, so we saw this movie twice. I liked it better the first time. There were scenes that I did not notice until we saw it the other night. The black guy in the little ship. No. In the ship that was at the end of the movie, he was just sitting there. You know, I didn't notice him the first time in the movie. I don't know what his name is. You know, when Lois was driving the little thing at the back, didn't notice him in the first movie at all. Yeah. Saw him when we saw him the other night. The squirrel was kind of cute. The monkeys was stupid. I did enjoy when the Fortress of Solitude came out of the snow. I thought that was a really cool scene. You know, coming back up, it turned, and you know, they got the sun's light. Between that and Mr. Terrific, I think those are probably the two best parts for me for the whole movie. Since we did see it twice, I think originally I probably would have gave it a 3.5, but after the second time, it actually went down for me. I probably gave it a 2.5. There were some things in there that I did not like. Will I watch it when it come on TV? Probably. Will I go to the movies to see it a third time, considering we got these passes? No. I didn't like how Clark's father was portrayed in the movie. I kind of feel like Martha felt like Jonathan was stupid. I did not like how Supergirl, and she was only in there for like a minute at the end of the movie, coming in there drunk. I didn't like that.
Yeah, I didn't either. I thought that was ridiculous.
That was ridiculous. Now, I don't read the comic books. you know. But what I remember of Supergirl, since I brought it up there, I never thought she was that naive. A little bit. But to come in and drunk and throwing her, you know, her bottle down and, you know, the dog and just running out there like that.
Remember that scene, because Superman tells you that they can't get drunk on the yellow sun. So if she gets back to Earth, why is she still drunk?
True.
I mean, come on.
True. I didn't even think about it at that aspect. I just didn't like her just coming in, you know. You have visibility. I kind of feel like she should have been just a little bit more mature. I know when I was talking about that scene with my daughter was like, you know, in some of the cartoons, you know, Clark sent her to another planet, and I can't remember the name of that movie, you know, because how her attitude was, because she was a little bit naive. That minute at the end of this movie, I was highly disappointed. I don't know if I'm looking forward to see Supergirl, if she's going to have that kind of attitude in the movie that's going to come out next year. I didn't like it at all. Lex, I thought he was interesting. I do believe his hatred for Superman was a little bit over the top, but I didn't have a problem with some of the stuff he did. That little tear when he was just so frustrated at the end, I thought that was very interesting. You know, I mean, was it because he was upset that he knew that he was losing? Was it just because he was just so arrogant and he can't believe it happened? I don't know, but you know, I thought that little tear was interesting. That room where the people were in the Ultra Universe, there was no bathrooms there, so I know Mark was laughing at me. I'm like, "Is that a toilet?" And Mark's like, "No, that's a chair." And I'm like, "Okay, well, it's kind of silly."
Oh, but, wow! I didn't even think about that.
I did, and that's where I'm almost disappointed that I saw it, you know, both times, maybe, you know, a week apart. I might have gave it a little bit of a better rating if I saw it maybe weeks from now. But for me, I was nitpicking, maybe a little bit too much, but I should have only watched it the first
time. Okay.
All right.
So, you know, I still stick with I think I would give it a 3.5, probably 4 stars. It does have its issues. For me, I look at every Superman as its own universe. So, yeah, I enjoy Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, but I rewatched that after I watched this movie, and there were parts of it that I didn't like about Man of Steel after seeing that, because I have to think, you know, Superman is like, as somebody already said, he's hopeful. You feel hope when you see Superman because he is that Boy Scout. He's not going to go to the lengths that other characters are going to go to. And when you got Man of Steel, there was no hope in that movie at all. It was just a Superman that it was depressing if you think about it in itself. After I watched Man of Steel, I then watched Batman versus Superman. And then that movie made it worse because I'm like, the Henry Cavill movie did dumb stuff that I thought, yeah, you shouldn't have done that. But we're going to be talking about this movie. The parts that I didn't like were the monkeys. I thought that was ridiculous. I loved Mr. Terrific. I thought he was fantastic. I couldn't believe they did a great job portraying him in this movie, and I was thoroughly impressed with that. I loved Lex Luthor. I know some people said they didn't, but I thought he did a great job with what he had. Fantastic character as Lex Luthor. And, you know, Nicholas Hoult did such a great job portraying Lex in that fashion. And for me, he's the second best Lex, just behind Michael Rosenbaum. You know, that's one I absolutely love.
Clancy Brown.
I'm talking live action. Clancy
okay,
Brown.
You're gonna say live action. Okay.
I'm only dealing with live action. I think the worst Lex Luthor to me was Batman versus Superman when you got Jesse Eisenberg.
Oh God, yes, I agree.
Horrible.
I agree.
Yeah, it was horrible. But, yeah, but I, you know, just with this one, I love that. like you said, Hawk Girl. I thought she was fantastic in the role. Um, when I look at her, you got to think about her love interest when it comes to how what is it?
Jon Stewart.
Jon Stewart, and I'm like, man, she's like half his size. I didn't want to see how that's going to come out, when they finally get to that. One thing I've always hated about Superman in any media is when he doesn't fight to his full potential when he starts off. He has to get beaten up before he can, he will push that envelope and go further than what he should. He's done it in every cartoon where people have hit him, they've beaten him up, and then when he thinks about it, then he starts to do something better. And that's what we got with this Superman. He got beat up quite a bit before he thought about what he needed to do to win the fight. And that's something that you've got to think about when it comes to Superman. He's like, well, I'm the strongest man out here. I'm not going to try to hurt anybody, which is what you saw in this movie. And then you get that at the end where he actually does decide to do a fight. Another thing that I hated was they called Bizarro Ultraman. I hated the fact that they used that because now because he's the the alternate universe Superman. I would have loved to have seen that in a future movie, but now you've used that name, and we're not going to ever get that story. So that's kind of disappointing to me. But like I said, this movie gave me hope. I enjoyed the dog to a point. I thought he was kind of funny, and Superman getting angry that the dog was taken. He's just a dog. Where's my dog? That was probably the funniest thing for me, seeing stuff like that. He never fought, it seemed like, at his full potential. That was kind of sad, but I'm hoping that in the future they're gonna make him much better than what we got so far. But I love that you got like little side stuff in this where it wasn't just one big fight with one character. You did get other characters to fight. So we did get to see him do other things besides dealing with Lex. I know some people said they didn't like the Daily Planet. I thought it was funny. They were sitting there when when the world was being destroyed, and they're sitting there talking about Lex Luthor. Let's get in the plane. We're gonna put this up. You can come with us as well. So that was interesting to me. And then when you watch the planet splitting, that was a nod to the Lego Batman movie. They did it just like that. And I was like, let's do our abs and pull the planet back together. So, it does have its points, but as a Superman movie, I still enjoyed watching it. I've seen it twice. I'll probably watch it again so I can get an idea of what I want, other things that I picked up on it. And, hopefully it'll be a better movie coming up to the next one, especially when you get the, Supergirl. And I would hope they do a Mr. Terrific movie because he by far stole the show in that, with everything he did.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did pick up some stuff since y'all were talking about it.
Hold on. Let me. I wanna. There you go.
So I got the cup when I went to the movies and the popcorn tin. So yeah, you can put popcorn in here, and there's the Superman thing on it. So I did get this while I was there.
Well, I like the merch. I'm a merch whore, so to speak. Every time that I go, I want that merch. So okay. I mean, again, the movie it's not my cup of tea, but I definitely wouldn't stop anyone from watching it, or definitely wouldn't discourage anyone from watching it, because again, it's a DC movie. I'd like DC to thrive, to be good. Again, I know it's not made for me, so I'm not too mad, because this is not something that it got me amped up. I mean, I'm a Batman fan anyway. I'm hoping James Gunn won't be directing it, because if I get any more of that something's bleeding like I did in Josh Whedon's Justice League, I'm done. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do the happy Lex Luthor in a pocket dimension holding out a donut. I was just like, what? Okay.
The monkeys got me.
Well, the joke is shit Superman. So that's his way of saying, hey, you guys are the monkeys in my movie, on the media stuff, just typing out, being haters, just typing out all this stuff to trash the movie. So
that was probably the worst thing for that. And I forgot to mention one other thing. We all grew up with Christopher Reeves as Superman in the 70s and 80s. And we loved him at that time, but I hated him as, Clark Kent. And I was afraid they were going to go back to that dumbass Clark Kent. And we did not get that. He was a really good Clark Kent, besides being an interesting Superman. So, he had his anger issues, stuff like that. So I love that part about him as well.
Well, I like the cast. I like Lois. Loved Hawk Girl. I love the fact that she's like, what, 5'2"? 5'2" with a mace and anger issues. So I really thought that was great. But, it's one of these things where everybody has to understand that, again, they're not making these movies for the average comic goer. They're making these movies for people who put butts in seats. And during the summertime, that's children. Okay, so they're going to make these movies like that. They want them to be, going back over and over and over again. They're putting all their hopes on the Doomsday thing, the Doomsday Marvel movie, and of course Secret Wars. So they're hoping to recapture that magic in the bottle. Supposedly Mr. What's his name? The director. What's the director's name? Gunn is building up to DC's big event, which is supposedly looking like, I'm not going to say it is, but it's looking like Kingdom Come, and that scares me to death. Please leave my childhood the way it was. Don't do it. Don't, just leave it alone. Do something else. Do something on your own. I don't know. I will support it because I'm a DC fan. I've always said I would die on this hill, so I gotta die on this hill. It is a good movie if you want to take your kids to. If you're a Snyder fan, I don't think you'll like it. I just don't. You know what I mean? If you're a Superman fan and you are like Mark, where you can and Rob, and you can appreciate Superman for being Superman, I think you'll enjoy this movie. And go see it. Please go see it. DC needs you more than ever right now because of all the crap that's out there. So go see this movie. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the Matriarchs of Fandom will be coming back at you soon. The DC reviewer, I'm pretty sure, will find something that he'd like to review. And we're going to kick it off this weekend. NC Geek Fandoms. Marky Mark and Admiral Xena. God, I just had a Galaxy Con Raleigh. I just had a moment. I've had a seniors moment right here live on TV. I'm going to need me some help. Good Lord, I just went blank. Galaxy Con Raleigh. The stars have amped up. They pushed out new stars. There's a bunch of new stars that are going to be there. Jedi Joe and Rob will be at Fantaside. This is their yearly trek. So please go by. If you're in Raleigh, go by, stop by, say hi. If you're going to be here in the 757 area, the Chesapeake Library, Jedi Joe, 757 Geek Fandoms, and Imperial Virginia Renegades will be there. Please stop by, say hi, make yourself known, sign up for the groups. They're totally free. We encourage you to do that because this is our little fandom gang. And justice gang, Jesus. Just be supportive, guys. If you like what you're seeing, just be supportive. We don't always try to do crazy stuff, but we do get together. We do have fun. We do support each other, and we would like your support as well. So, Fantasy, Chesapeake Library this weekend, Virginia Imperial Renegades, 757 Geek Fandoms, at Raleigh Geek Fandoms NC, and of course, Admiral Xena and the DC Reviewer will be there. Now, stay tuned. More to come. A lot more to come. Even with the former Detective Lane down there, we're going to grab him and do something with. And then there's Captain Bishop, who might be commander because he only shows up when he wants to. But we'll get that. We'll get that together, guys. I want to thank all of you for joining me. This has been Portal Talk, sponsored by the Oscarith. We will see you next time.